Something I hear from garden centers sometimes that makes me want to put my head directly through a wall or like trade it all in and become a dolphin trainer is when they tell me that they've relied on word of mouth for 30 years and that they don't need marketing. Let's unpack this. First of all, the people mouthing off about your business for the last 30 years might not even live here anymore. They might have moved away or died or gone to prison or abducted by aliens. New people move to your area all the time who don't even have anyone to tell them about you yet. And that process might take 6 years. And for those that are still around and know you exist, yeah, they might recognize your name. They might recognize your logo. They might remember that their mother shopped there in 1997, or they might drive past your sign every day. But do they have a reason to come in this weekend? Do they know what you're selling right now? Do they know that you offer landscape design, workshops, native plants, patio furniture, or whatever else you have spent the last 20 years adding to the business? And more importantly, do all the people in your community know you? Because local awareness is not permanent. You don't just earn it once and get to keep it for the next 40 years. People move, communities change, customers age, media habits change. Younger homeowners don't automatically inherit their parents' shopping habits. If your customer base is shrinking, aging, or simply not growing, people around here already know us is just not a growth strategy. Hi, I'm Rebecca McCusker, and here at McCusker's Marketing, we help established horticulture businesses understand how the market has changed, and we build the marketing systems they need to expand their customer base based on that data. So if you own or manage a garden center, greenhouse, or nursery, and you're trying to bring the business into its next chapter, subscribe to this channel. Today, we're talking about what you should actually do when local awareness starts to decline. And the answer is not just posting more on Facebook. We're going to get into it. So word of mouth. So the truth is that word of mouth eventually stops working. A lot of garden centers have relied on entirely word of mouth for decades. And word of mouth is awesome. It's wonderful. I mean, it's evidence that people trust you. It's evidence that your business has built a strong reputation. But it's not something you control. If your business has relied on word of mouth for 40 years, the people doing the mouthing move to Albuquerque or die. Okay, I don't know how else to say it. The group of people who originally built your reputation is not an infinitely renewable resource. So, and consider this too. Negative stories travel by word of mouth too. Okay, someone's going to be pissed that you didn't let them in the store 5 minutes after you closed. Somebody else thought their cashier was rude. Someone bought a hydrangea, planted it in full shade, and then believes that you sold them a bad plant because it dies. You know, that juju travels, okay? If you never actively tell the story of your business, other people will tell it for you, and you might not like their version. So marketing allows you to take control of that narrative. It lets you continuously explain who you are, what you know, what you offer, and why people should care. So let's get into how you rebuild that awareness. 1, borrow other people's audiences. One of the fastest ways to reach new people is through strategic partnerships. Your business has an audience. The coffee shop down the street has an audience. The local brewery has an audience. The local library, farmer's market, yoga studio, restaurants, wineries. I mean, the list goes on. The interior designers, landscapers. I mean, they all have audiences, right? And there's probably a meaningful amount of overlap between the people they reach and the people you want to reach. So a strategic partnership allows both businesses to borrow trust from one another. But I don't mean just putting someone else's logo on a flyer and calling it done, okay? That's not a partnership. You need to create something together. Maybe the brewery develops a garden-inspired beer for one of your events. Maybe a local artist teaches a botanical watercolor class in your greenhouse. Maybe the library runs a children's story time during your pollinator weekend, or like a local bookshop, right? Like the partnership needs to give both organizations a legitimate reason to tell their audience about it. So that's how your garden center begins appearing in front of people who would not normally see your content. And local content creators can be strategic partners too, and I don't necessarily mean like a gardening influencer with 300,000 followers. A local creator with 5,000 genuinely engaged followers might be much more valuable because those people can actually drive to your store, right? Find the person making videos about local restaurants, weekend activities, family outings, and invite them behind the scenes. Let them meet your people. Let them tour the growing operation. Let them make something in their own voice and give them something real to experience and let them tell the story. 2, use paid ads to reach people who don't follow you. Your organic social media content primarily reaches people who already know you. That's useful for staying connected with current customers, but it does not do much to expand the customer base. So this is where paid advertising on Meta comes into play. Facebook and Instagram allow you to target people within the geographic area that your business realistically serves. And you can build a campaign around your location, your surrounding region, or the communities from which customers are willing to drive. But just don't feel the need to boost every post you publish. Build the ad around a specific reason to act. You want to build the ad around the action you want your customers to take. So a greenhouse tour, maybe you want them to sign up for the greenhouse tour, sign up for the fall planting weekend, explore the new native collection. Now, paid advertising works best when there's a clear audience, a specific message, and an actual reason for that person to care right now. 3, have you considered TikTok? And before anyone says, our customers aren't on TikTok, I would like you to actually check, because they might be. Listen, the next generation of your customer almost certainly is. And personally, I've seen a lot of like Gen Xers on TikTok and elder millennials who are absolutely your customer base right now. But even so, the next generation of your customers are on TikTok right now. And TikTok is not just teenagers dancing. People use it to find restaurants, activities, travel destinations, home ideas, plant advice. Y'all ever heard of Plant Talk? TikTok itself now actively promotes location targeting and local advertising for small businesses, which is great. Now, the content does not need to be complicated. In fact, TikTok videos do better when they're low production, off the cuff, and casual. So show the weirdest plant that came in this week, right? Like walk through the greenhouse after hours, ask an employee with which perennial they'd never remove from their own garden. And, garden centers have an amazing amount of visually interesting material. And most of y'all are standing in the middle of it every day, acting like there's nothing to film. So test that platform organically, work with a local creator, and put paid support behind the videos that genuinely connect and start to see what happens to your audience. Number 4 or 5, I'm not sure. Consider streaming and local television. Okay, like if you're serious about rebuilding broad local awareness, it may also be time to think beyond social media. Streaming television advertising is more accessible to local businesses than most owners realize. Disney Campaign Manager allows businesses to purchase streaming placements across properties such as Hulu, Disney Plus. ESPN also available through platforms such as like Amazon and Google, usually with help from an experienced media buyer. Now, this is not where I would spend your first marketing dollar if your website is terrible, you have no good video, and you can't clearly explain why someone should visit. Streaming will not fix a weak message, but it can show that weak message to more people. But okay, so if you have a strong commercial, though, a clear geographic market, and something worth promoting, streaming can make an established local business feel visible again. And we have seen this tangibly work with our clients. I've also seen garden centers benefit from advertising through their local news station. This captures the older folks that are still watching cable, that are still watching the news on TV, but the local news can still be really effective when your target customer is that established homeowner who still recognizes and trusts that station. Again, the creative absolutely matters. Don't spend money telling people you have quality plants and knowledgeable staff. Every garden center can say that. Show me the family. Show me the growing operation. Show me what's happening there this weekend. What makes you different, right? Like, show me how your garden center is part of your community. Number 5, create a reason for people to come. This is the piece that ties everything else together. It gives you a reason to talk to your audience in the first place, right? Like, Awareness is easier to create when you have something to be aware of. You can't continuously promote the fact that your store exists and expect people to remain interested. You need reasons for people to come out, right? Events are one of the strongest tools garden centers have because the product itself is already experiential. One thing that's worked amazingly well for our clients are the behind the scenes greenhouse tours. Like, customers are fascinated by the parts of the operation you consider completely ordinary. They want to see where the plants are grown and they want to understand how the greenhouse operates. They want to meet the grower. They love to learn. I mean, this is great for kids too. Behind the scenes access turns your business just from a store to a destination. Gives every other part of the marketing system something useful to promote. Film the tour, share the tour. The meta ads can sell the tickets. TikTok can show off the best parts. Even the local news station might cover it. Why not? Suddenly, you're not begging people to remember that you exist. You've created something worth talking about. Now, don't forget, though, to capture the audience, okay? Like, once new people discover you, you need a way to keep them. Get them into your email list. Give event attendees a reason to subscribe to that email list. Invite them to join a seasonal planting series, download a local gardening guide, or receive first access to future workshops or products. Otherwise, you'll just spend money reaching the same people from scratch every spring. And you want the first visit to become a second visit, a third visit. You want the third visit to become a habit. That's how awareness actually turns into customer growth. Now, the system is simple, okay? If your local awareness is declining, you need to do 4 things. Borrow attention through those strategic partners and creators. Buy attention through targeted advertising. Create attention through events and experiences. And capture that attention through email and continued communication. You don't necessarily need to do all of this at once, but you do need to stop assuming that a reputation built 40 years ago will automatically carry the business for another 40. Like, local loyalty is incredibly valuable, and it's not a growth plan. Okay, like, take control of the story. People hear about your business, and give new customers a reason to discover you and a reason to stop by. Make sure that the next generation inherits momentum, not a garden center that everyone vaguely remembers but nobody thinks to visit. So which of these have you tried? Have strategic partnerships worked for you? Have you experimented with TikTok or Meta paid ads, streaming commercials, or something like greenhouse tours or other types of events that work well? Tell me in the comments what has and has not worked for your market. Like this video, subscribe to the MM channel, and send it to the person that keeps telling you people around here already know us, because maybe they do. That doesn't mean they're coming over this weekend. So again, this is Rebecca from McCusker's Marketing. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.